Hi guys, Charlie here from Christmas on Crestline. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about how to install Christmas lights on your roof for your Christmas light show. If this is your first time watching one of our videos, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to do a lot of behind the scenes action of our 80,000 animated Christmas light show. If you want to learn how to build props, what it takes to put on a show of this magnitude, don't forget to subscribe. So, Christmas lights on your roof. If you've never done it before, it can be a little daunting. There's so many choices for clips and for hooks, what kind of bulbs. There's lots of different choices out there. And to find out what works for you, you may have to play around a little bit, but the basics are just this. We have here a bunch of blues. These are C7 bulbs, and C7s are usually about the size of your thumb. You can use C6s, you can use minis, you can do whatever you like. But for our show, we do the entire roof line, and I do have a little bit of a cutout of my roof. It's a little bit of an L shape or a cookie cutter, and it does tear a little bit. So we do blues, reds, whites, and greens. We do a 4-bulb outline of our roof. Now for hooks, there's a lot of different hooks out there. And what we use is just a standard hook. There's nothing special about it really. It comes in a 2-piece. You have to tear them apart. Usually they're attached like this. You tear them apart, rip it up, and it just fits in there. The clip can go onto your shingle or it can go onto your guttering, and the bulb just fits into there. These hooks are the same ones I used last year. Once they're taken apart, they do kind of get the rigidity back over time, over the course of the 10 months that they've been sitting down. So I'm going to show you guys a little video about how I do it. Should be a quick video, should be fun. Okay, so there are 4 standard things that you need to hang Christmas lights on your roof. The first thing you need for your own safety and really your own comfort is kneeling pads. You can use knee pads if you want, but knee pads don't do anything for your backside, so we use kneeling pads. We'll be up on this roof for about 20 to 30 hours hanging a 20,000 Christmas lights just on our roof. So those do come in quite handy. The shingles kind of get hard after a while. We have your hooks, which are just your standard hooks. I believe I got these from Walmart many years ago. I use them every year. You got your C7 light bulbs, and you have, of course, your extension cord. You got to test those lights. There are 2 rules of thumb to do it, 2 schools of thought. You can test your lights in place on the ground or in place up on the roof. I always choose to test them up on the roof where I'm at. I have a shade tree over here off camera to the left, which gives me enough shade to see if the lights are functional and working. If they're not, I can repair them at that time prior to hanging them. Every year though, I'll have a bulb or 2 go out as soon as all my lights are up. This does give me a chance to test them in place ahead of time. Sometimes they can kind of get damaged in transit. You may drop them as you're bringing them up, and you have to retest them if you do initially test them on the ground. So I always choose to test them in place on the roof. So those are your 4 basic things you need to install Christmas lights on your roof. All right, so I have my lights tested. I have my hooks here, got my kneeling pads. The last step to do before you start hanging your lights is to clean out your gutters. The easiest way I found is to use my cordless 36-volt Black & Decker air blower. I run that once through the guttering, and it cleans it out. You may be allergic to mold, you may be allergic to pollen, so wear a face mask if you need to. But yeah, definitely clean those gutters out before you start hanging lights, and that's really the last step you need to do before you start hanging Christmas lights on your roof. To make sure it's clean, looks good, because once these lights get on your gutters, you're going to start getting twigs and leaves that just get embedded into the mesh of wiring. And so if you haven't cleaned it out yet, that's just going to add to it. And when you get your snowfall and your water and your run down, it's just going to make things worse, and it's going to overflow rather than going down the downspouts like it should. And that's really the last step you need to do before you start hanging lights. All right, so you're ready to hang lights on your roof. You have your gutters all nice and cleaned. If you have allergies, I don't, but if you do, you've taken your antihistamine pill because you're gonna be around all this mold and whatever else has been in your gutters for the last 10 months, and you're ready to hang lights. You got your clips. These universal clips we're using today, you can go horizontal on them, you can go vertical on them, and they just bam, real tight on your gutters. I don't have a problem with these things at all on the gutters as far as tightness goes. They hang on there nice and snug. It's the problem you run into with these universal clips is the reindeer antler portion of it. They just pop in there all nice. And I've figured out how to work with these, which is why I do, because they cost me a grand total of 5 cents a piece. These are about $5 for 100. We use them vertically though. So we're gonna put these reindeer hooks down here, horizontal like, and bam, those actually go much better. Now, when you take these lights down later in the season, you're not going to want to leave the clips attached to these if you want to ever reuse these again. When you take them down first week in January, they'll eventually, by the time you get around to next October, they'll get their rigidity back. If you leave them hooked up, and I've seen some people just leave them attached and they think it's easier, it's not easier. Fun fact, it's a lot harder. But if you want to reuse these, this is how you have to do it. When you take them down, you pop right back out. What I do not suggest these universal hooks for at all are C9s. I tried for about a half of a second one year to use these clips with C9s, and these C9s just ruin these clips. It'll hang on now, but here in about an hour or two, these things will be so stretched out, they will not hold this bulb and it'll fall straight down. So my advice, never use these universal cheap hooks for C9s. C7s, no problem. C6s, I've never had an issue. Minis work great. C9s, use a professional grade, use a stronger clip. It'll come in handy. Okay, so we have our lights strung, and there's two ways to do this. The way I do it is I have the hook underneath my shingle, and I have the hook going out horizontally. What that allows to do is allows the bulbs to be plugged in vertically. So, and they just snap right in. The reason why I do that is if I have a flashlight and I'm pointing the flashlight at you, you alone, because of the direction, the line of sight, you're going to see that light, that brightness from that light. But in the middle of the night, if I have the flashlight pointed vertically up in the air, it gives off a neater glow. And your audience is going to be the folks on the street. And I want folks to have a more impressive view of the light. If I have the bulbs facing horizontally, you're just going to get that little bit. And if you happen to be standing just right, the LED light's hitting you, then cool, looks neat. Having the bulbs go vertically gives off a better illumination than having them go horizontally. And that's just my opinion. That's what works for me. Do what works best for you. On my roof, we have several different kind of cookie cutter roofs. On this right here, we're going underneath the shingles. As you can see back here, we're on the guttering, and these snap right in on the guttering. Bam, real easy to do. Okay, so we have the three colors already hung on the roof, the red, white, and blues. Now we're going to go for the green. I'm using C7 bulbs, and C7 bulbs are just about the size of your thumb. If you're using C9s, you're absolutely going to run into this problem. Using C7s, I run into this problem, and it's a problem you're going to face if you're having four colors on a roof, and I'm going to show you how to hack that right now. What I do is my red, white, and blues are all spaced out 6-inch bulbs. That's just how they're prefabbed on the cord. My greens here are spaced 4 inches. I couldn't find any that were spaced 6 or 8, so that's how I ended up with the solution. What I do is I remove every other bulb and I put electrical tape on it. Electrical tape works out better for me. In my experience, the duct tape does. If I don't get the duct tape on there securely, the dirt and the dust and the grime of being outside for 6 weeks will get in there and they'll just fly off. Electrical tape, for me, in my experience, just stays on better, and it blocks out every bit of the LED bulb. So when they all come on, you don't see that, and it looks fine from the show. From the street, and it lets me have my spacing without any issues. When you have 4 colors on your roof, the problem you're going to run into is they all want to go on the roof at the same spot. Well, obviously they can't, and your pattern gets screwed up. So you may have RBGW, red, white, green, blue, whatever your pattern is. But if you don't have correct spacing or the ability to have correct spacing, your pattern will shift and it'll look a little bit askew from the street in the middle of the night for your audience. So it's just a little hack that I do, a little do-it-yourself tip. But I do get the 4-inch spacing bulbs, and I remove every other bulb, put electrical tape on it. It is time consuming, but it adds maybe an hour is all it does. It's actually fairly quick. These bulbs unscrew rather easily. So a little hack for you, because I know you're going to run into this problem. Okay, we're all done hanging Christmas lights around the perimeter of my roof. And here are the 6 things I used to do that today. You have your air blower to give you a nice clean canvas to start hanging your Christmas lights on your roof, you need to clean those gutterings out and to clean the rooftop. So it gives you a nice clean canvas and you don't have any obstructions at all. Then you got your kneeling pads for your knees and for your backside, and you will need it. For me today, I spent about 9 hours up on the roof. So yeah, I'm glad I had them. I do test my Christmas lights in place on the roof, so I have my extension cord and of course I have my lights, and I also have my electrical tape. As I spoke of earlier, we do use an 8-inch spacing on our green lights. We remove every other bulb and tape that with the black electrical tape to hide that illumination from the folks on the street. The last piece of advice I would give you before I leave is to know where you're going to get your power from. For us, it's on the north end of the home is where we power our roof lights at. So I start my serpentine of my lights on the north end of the home. So I hope you learned something today. If you did, don't forget to subscribe if you want to know what it takes to run an animated Christmas light show, or if you just want tips to do for your yard for your static Christmas show. So from Charlie here on Christmas on Crestline, we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. No. Better. Okay, if you're gonna hang it, better. Dude, filming. Hey, this dude's not out. He's not been done for a while then. Yep. All right, so if you have a ladder, let's go through that real quick. I have my ladder here, got my cleaned out gutters, and I got my hooks. You pop in, you can go vertical, you can go horizontal, and you just pop them right on there. Another quick tip is I don't have allergies, but if you do, you might want to take an antihistamine before you do this, because you're gonna have all sorts of stuff in your face. So it'll be mold, or it's my dog, he says hi. Beta, we're filming. Shh. Yeah, he's beta because I'm the alpha.